Hi everyone, this is Iggy for Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review, and today I'm going to do the first of a series of quickie videos because I have a whole bunch of these, and I thought if I spent too much time on each group, it would take weeks to get through, and I want to clean up my place because I have about 20 totes in my bedroom that need to go back to storage. And before I can put them back, I want to make sure I got everything filmed and packed up and ready to go. My brother said he would come over with his truck and help me. We'll probably have to make 2 trips. But these figures here are by Acrid. Acrid? Yeah, I sure say things weirdly, don't I? I don't know why it comes out like that. The only thing I can think of is that maybe I have stage fright. Uh, if you've ever spoken in front of a large crowd or filmed a video, you'll realize very quickly that you can freeze up a little bit, and it's hard to formulate your thoughts and speak clearly. So I mispronounce a lot of words, but sometimes the results are kind of comical. These are not acrid. Well, they might be acrid. I don't know, but they're from Accurate Figures Limited, and that's a British company. And this group here, there's 40 figures here, and I purchased these from a company called Stone Castle Imports, and they were importing uh, like bucket loads of toy soldiers from overseas and distributing them here in America. And Stone Castle Imports was located in, I think, a place called Bardstown, Kentucky. I'm going off of memory. It's been probably close to 30 years since I ordered from. Oh my gosh, it's hard to believe. They probably retired by this time. But you could get a big baggie full of soldiers like you see here. And it wasn't that much if I remember rightly. It was like $25 for 40 figures, which is not bad at all. And these were also sold, although they might have been stolen. I don't know. I was just talking about the weird things I say. Um, they were also sold in stores. I remember buying a few boxes at the drugstore or the chemist's shop, as they say in England. And they came in a small white box, and I think you would get something like 18 figures or something in a box. I remember this clerk got really mad at me because I was opening a box and taking out some of the figures. And the reason I was doing that is I wanted to make sure they were all there because the tape had been cut and had been opened. And the guy thought I did that. And I was just merely checking to see that all the figures were there. But he gave me a lot of attitude. I bought the figures anyway, so I don't know why he was so upset with me. But anyway, uh, some of these are pretty nice poses. Now, the color that you see here is not the color that of the ones I have. These all look like a medium blue or dark medium blue, and these are actually federal blue, if you can believe it. Let me see if I turn off the flashlight, if it gives you a better indication of the color. No, it's still okay. It's not. So this is not the color. What you see is not what you get. In other words, these were all in a federal blue, which is like a dark, like a navy blue almost. Okay, so before I begin, I'm going to show you another group of soldiers. These are by BMC, and these came in their Gettysburg playset. And these are the only ones I kept from the playset. The others I think I threw out. I didn't care for the poses. However, these I thought were pretty good, so I kept them. I also kept Meade's headquarters and um, General Lee's headquarters buildings. Those were pretty awesome, and I was glad to add it to my collection. So these here are BMC. You still can get them. You probably could get these at Hobby Lobby or other places like that. They're not very expensive either. So those are still available. I haven't seen a box of accurate figures in a store in quite a number of years now. However, hobby stores may sell them. I don't know because every last hobby store in Jacksonville, Florida is gone. They all went bankrupt or retired or went out of business, whatever you want to call it, and they're gone. And that's pretty frustrating because if you're like me and like to see what's new and take a look at what's going on, it's made much harder because now I have to look at stuff on eBay and I might miss things that way. And I miss the old hobby stores. It was also fun to just browse in the hobby store. I liked seeing planes hanging from the ceiling. They always had a HO train layout under construction. It was always under construction. I never saw one that was finished, and they would have that in the window. And I guess they worked on it like once a year or something because I never saw one finished. At any rate, so these are from the BMC Gettysburg playset. And like I mentioned, I got rid of most of them, but I did keep these. These are also a darker blue. They almost appear to be black color. And these are not the actual colors. My camera is changing things. I guess the flashlight, although I turned the flashlight off and it still doesn't look right, so I'm not sure. So, okay, I showed you those. So let's take close-up looks of these accurate figures. It looks like he's holding a little sausage. Maybe a cigar, but that's supposed to be his finger. This officer is pretty cool. I like him. Sorry, I hiccuped. That's one of the figures I like. And this rifleman. Let's take a look at his accoutrements and see if his traps are somewhat accurate. He's wearing a blanket roll. Some guys call it a horse collar. He's got his cloth-covered canteen. Those came in different colors. They would have a navy blue cover, a kersey blue cover, and a tan cover. And it all depends, I guess, on when it was made and who made it. There's his haversack. And some people say, oh, I want to get some things for my haversack. And I'm like, why? The only thing you're supposed to carry in your haversack is food. You wouldn't keep letters and photos of your family in there because it would get grease on them. That was your food bag. Carry 3 days of rations in there. So you'd have hardtack and salt pork and what they would call desiccated vegetables, or as some guys call them, desecrated vegetables, which were basically dried up, and you would put them in water to hopefully revive them. Make a stew with your salt pork. I couldn't eat the salt pork. I even rinsed it in canteen water, and it was awful. It's just really salty. And the hardtack lives up to its name. It's very hard. It's like trying to chew on a brick. Okay, so that's a pretty nice pose there. For some reason, I don't care for these pistol poses. It's like, what is he thinking? He's in Tombstone or something? I don't know. And this poor guy over here, he's really having a hard time of it. Would you use your musket as a crutch? Well, if you want to spend the rest of the week cleaning out your barrel, maybe, because all that would do is shove mud and dirt up into the barrel of your rifle, and it would be very difficult to clean all that out of there. In the movie about Lincoln, do you guys remember that movie? It was with Daniel Day-Lewis. I thought he did an excellent job as Lincoln. In the beginning of the movie, it shows these guys limping back to Washington, D.C. And I'm like, excuse me, the front was in Petersburg. Why are you walking from Petersburg all the way to Washington, D.C.? That made no sense at all. This is a good pose here. So why don't we do a sweep like I've done in other videos? We'll do a panoramic sweep so you can get a good feel for what you're looking at. And I probably will show you some more accurate figures in different. I thought they might have had a series 2, so I'll have to check. They might be reverse blue. In other words, they might be Confederates that were cast in a light blue. Some of the toy manufacturers are soldiers. I can't talk. Some of them did that where you could get reverse colors, like you could get Union troops in butternut or gray. Although the butternut I have is more of a tan color than a butternut, but I guess what they meant was for it to be more like a butternut. The next video I'll make will be of what I think might be reverse color Confederates, but we'll take a look at them. Together we'll take a look at them. I promised this would be a short video, and already I'm getting long-winded, so I apologize for that. That's a pretty cool flag bearer. This officer is very good. I like him. The only thing is they don't have enough riflemen. I'm looking, this is 40 figures, and I only see 3 riflemen. Yeah, that's it. Three riflemen. So that's not very many. And look at all these guys here all posing in a kneeling position firing. And they only have a couple here. There's one here, there's one there. And there's one up here and one over here. And that's it. 2 different poses. This one's wearing an overcoat, as you can see here, because of the cape. You know, I spent a great deal of money on buying an overcoat and never wore it. I think I ended up giving it to my friend Doug's son. I got to see him wear it once at Knott's Berry Farm. We were invited to put on a little demonstration in the parking lot, and we set up a camp in this like grassy area where the parking was, and everyone that came to the park would avoid us. And there was 2 young teenage girls that stopped to talk to us, and we arrested them and put them in irons. And that was fun. And they had a good time, and we talked a little bit about the Civil War with them. But most people that came, they just ignored. Anytime someone sees something that's different or out of the ordinary, it actually makes them feel uncomfortable. And so, for instance, I went to St. Augustine, and there was a guy there sitting on a bench, and he was wearing 1920s civilian attire. And he looked excellent. He had spats on, and he had the striped pants, and it just he was perfect. He had a little pencil mustache, and nobody would talk to him. Nobody would ask, "What are you doing?" Nothing. I smiled and waved at him, but I too felt a little embarrassed to ask him why he was dressed like 1922. But he looked awesome. I got to say that much. Okay, guys, that's it. I want to thank you for getting Iggy with it. And if you haven't done so already, you might want to consider enlisting in the Iggy Army. Everyone who joins the Iggy Army gets a $500 bonus, which is never paid to you. And you also get a free raspberry-filled donut, which you also never get. Those are just some of the incentives to join the Iggy Army. I want to thank you guys for tagging along, and I'll see you in the next video, and we'll talk about, what are we going to talk about next time? These figures here, which you can't really make out, but we're going to look at those next. Okay, guys, that's it. To all my Iggy pards out there, I want to say thank you and have a good evening. Bye.